So this is a new thing for us as actors because the whole scene, the timing is done, fed it into the system.
So you can ask me what prep went into me pretending to be a test cricketer. 10 times that went into me pretending to be a fighter pilot.
बहुत सारे मेरे आर्मी के दोस्त भी ऐसा बोलते थे कि हमने मतलब आर्मी ने ही सब कुछ किया है क्योंकि किसी को पता ही नहीं है एयरफोर्स का क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन था.
And we all existed for 25 years, after the war, not knowing enough about this story. So it's definitely a story.
This world of how a Desi Indian fighter pilot is made, that we don't know.
I told them, I said, you guys deserve some kind of an award here for being here for 1.5 months. We wrapped up together, I guess.
Played Bhagat Singh. Now I'm playing Ajay Ahuja. So if I have not made those mistakes, I shouldn't comment on them.
Okay. आज के ज़माने में सब कुछ मुझे लग रहा है चिल्ला के बोलना पड़ता है.
This is Abhimanyu and I'm in the most unusual setup for an interview. The carpet you see below me is not a green carpet. It's where the magic happens in cinema. It's the set of Netflix's upcoming series Operation Safed Sagar. I have the entire team with me, starting with Tanya, Bami, series head Netflix India. The showrunners I have the director, and I have 2 men in uniform, Tony and Ahuja, if I'm correct here, or Jimmy Shergill and Siddharth. Guys, thank you for your time, first of all. I know it's a shoot day, and we have borrowed time, precious time of yours. So I'll try to keep it pointed and short, as you must like it by now. But just to start with, of this entire experience, I'll start with the 2 men who have, if the viewers can see that in the camera, that is the cockpit, right? And you are getting to experience something that has never been done in Indian filmmaking or storytelling before. How much can you prepare for this, and what's the experience like? Maybe sir, let's start with you.
I think you have to prepare yourself. I mean, we've been used to the cockpits, and initially there used to be a few men turning it around and making it look like you're flying a fighter jet. And slowly, those machines from SL World, what are they?
Roller coaster.
No, roller coaster.
Simulator.
Motion bases.
The motion bases were typically from that SL World and all those other places which you can this thing, but they move like that and all whatever. And this is state of the art, latest technology, and with the whole thing happening at the back. But the main thing is the programming and the coordination with the lights and the background that is, you program it and you set it. So this is a new thing for us as actors because the whole scene, the timing is done, fed it into the system, and obviously these people have worked on it before. So the plane takes off. So the whole thing, you're shooting in one go,
Right.
the whole scene, right? So, and after a little while, after a couple of rehearsals, you also know that after these many lines, now this is going to turn left. So you got to do the entire thing of the thing going left, right? And suddenly now you got upward, and then it goes like that. So everything is programmed. So that is where it becomes something new for an actor, is because you're getting used to a new machine.
Yeah. And despite knowing that, you have to bring that spontaneity into it, that it's happening to your character for the first time.
Right.
How do you do that?
Firstly, we are actors. So our job is to pretend to be something we're not.
Right.
Secondly, my last project with Netflix had me playing an India test cricketer. So I shot on the center pitch of Chepauk.
Right.
So you can ask me what prep went into me pretending to be a test cricketer. 10 times that went into me pretending to be a fighter pilot. Because at some level I've played cricket my whole life.
Yeah.
But I've never sat in the cockpit of a plane. So everything in this is hand holding. But it comes from a place of great respect for the source material and how much time has been put into creating it, and for the technical wizardry that's gone into making it, and making not just actors feel like they're in the sky, but the actual audience as well. So it's just been a really exciting work opportunity. So thank you guys for creating this for us. And it's been a once in a lifetime human experience. One, because I got to do something that I couldn't even imagine in my wildest dream. And two, because I've been part of this brotherhood for a year now, and for them 5 years plus. But for us to be with such incredible individuals, each person in this interview, and I've had all of them their hands to hold in moments of great fear and moments of great privilege. Both come from the same thing, that we are representing something that's not been represented before.
Abhijeet, you're one of the showrunners here. And I ask this because Operation Safed Sagar is not as synonymous with the Kargil War as Operation Vijay has been. And good, because people know about Operation Vijay because that was a great victory for the Indian Army. But Operation Safed Sagar was just as pivotal. Yet it's not as talked about. I think our Indian Air Force is not as talked about as the Army because in the mind of the general public, war means on the ground. But it hasn't always been like that. Of course, in the last couple of years, we've seen the victories of the Indian Air Force and it's getting to the Indian audiences now. But was that the reason that you thought of Safed Sagar as something could be unheard of for the Indian audience?
So I think Kushal sir will answer that best.
Kushal, I can answer.
He was in the Air Force, and that's how
It
it
happened
happened.
in July 99 and I joined in December 99.
Right.
And I realized that Air Force culture is very different from Indian Army's culture.
Right.
बट हमने हमेशा सिनेमा में दोनों को बहुत सिमिलर देखा है, या एयरफोर्स को आर्मी के एक पार्ट की तरह देखा है। बहुत सारे मेरे आर्मी के दोस्त भी ऐसा बोलते थे कि हमने मतलब आर्मी ने ही सब कुछ किया है, क्योंकि किसी को पता ही नहीं एयरफोर्स का क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन था। एयरफोर्स का ये टेक है कि उस समय आर्मी के लॉसेस बहुत ज्यादा हो रहे थे, तो वी गिव देम कंप्लीट फ्रीडम कि आप दिखाओ, आपको उधर से उस प्रोसेस में कहीं हमारी कहानी दब गई कि हमने क्या किया। तो मुझे लगता है कि वो एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट ऑपरेशन था जो पब्लिक को पता होना चाहिए कि क्या हुआ था। अगर वो नहीं होता तो आर्मी के लॉसेस बहुत ज्यादा होते, तो मुझे लगता है कि वो सबके सामने आना जरूरी है।
And in an authentic fashion, Vicky, of course, said that's what you're here for.
I'm serving that
Exactly.
time, मुझे पता है डिटेलिंग कि उस समय क्या हो रहा था, कैसे यूनिफॉर्म पहनते थे, कैसे फाइल्स होते थे, कैसा रूम होता था, कैसे जहाज होते थे। I could add. I'm very lucky. I'm very happy to be यहाँ तक पहुँचे और आज हम आपको बता रहे हैं कैसे ये पूरा प्रोसेस हुआ। Thankful to all these people.
Tanya, when something like this comes to your platform, to Netflix, how does the process begin? Like, how does this get from what is on the page to something on the screen?
I think the first thing that it needs is a lot of, excitement, passion. I would also say clarity of vision.
True.
Because, we get all kinds of ideas from fully fleshed out, Bibles to ready sort of scripts, or even many times even ready series. And many times we all, actually start with a 2-pager. In this case, I distinctly remember my first meeting with Kushal and Abhijeet and Mehboob, and they had a really dense sort of research material and a lot of like the passion shown through their eyes. So there was no doubt in our minds that we will do this story because it is such a unique story. And we've all existed for 25 years, after the war, not knowing enough about this story. So it's definitely a story that we wanted to sort of bring to our audiences, to our members across the world. The bigger question, like you rightly asked, was how. All of them had a lot of passion. All of them had worked, and done different things. Kushal had done a film. Abhijeet had done a couple of series. So we had to make sure that we come together and actually support this idea, support this ambition and this passion, and really mount it at the scale that it deserves to be mounted. I think it's been a work of deep collaboration, in the way the story is being built out, in the way, they partnered with Matchbox Shots, whether it's the technical team helmed by Oni, or whether it is state-of-the-art VFX, guidance that we've been able to offer them. The whole approach has been enabling because, when you find such precious gems like Operation Safed Sagar, it becomes a combined passion to actually make it happen. And we were just so fortunate to be a part of this story and to actually tell a story that the Air Force feels proud about. It is the year of the Air Force, and, it is a story, their first story that we are getting the privilege to tell.
Abhijeet, I'll just take something off from there is that when we think about stories from the Air Force, my generation and younger, go back to Top Gun. And it irks me because we don't have credible stories about the Indian Air Force out there. We have a few in our cinema. But do you think there's a space for it because our Air Force has done a lot?
Yeah.
and most of it, like Kushal rightly said, is a little unintended under the radar. So, do you think there's a space for that storytelling?
Absolutely. I think it's a really unexplored world, and that was the first striking thing for me. And it took one of their own to come out and help us tell that story, because I mean, spending 6 years, and there were so many of these small things which just differentiated just not the Air Force world that we don't know of, the Indian Air Force world, but also the difference between the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army. Like one of the first details that Kushal sir told me about was that, when Indian Army has these 3D maps because they're on the ground, they're fighting against features.
Right.
And the Indian Air Force always has 2D maps because they're looking from the sky at perspectives. And I thought this world of how a Desi Indian fighter pilot is made, that we don't know. I mean, we don't know what their wives go through, what their families go through. The making of a pilot, the making of one very quirky thing that we got to know was that one of the wives told us that this one very junior fighter pilot came to her house and she was trying to send him on an errand and said, "Tum scooter leke chale jao, please ye saman le aao." And she said, "Family ko scooter chalana nahi aata." So, but this boy knows how to ride a bike. So I'm just saying there were so many of these small stories which I was like, and then I asked sir that this can't be told in a film.
Yeah.
There were different kinds of fighter pilots that we'd spoken to. Someone who's struggling with speed, someone who's very good with not looking at instruments and flying, and someone who's very good with just instruments and flying. And we thought that, the series format would really help us get into this unexplored Air Force world, to the depth of it, to tell these small stories about different kinds of fighter pilots, to bring this world alive. Like as you've mentioned, I mean, all the briefings in probably Top Gun are in a big tech hangar.
Yeah.
Where you can see jets. But when we visited, we went and thankfully, because of Netflix, we could go for a writer's research activity. So even before we started writing the scripts, for 3 weeks, we were going through different Air Force stations. And that sort of started seeping into the show. We saw that there are different kinds of briefing rooms where these fighter pilots sit together and they fight it out after every sortie. And these are the kind of details which I thought was really unexplored.
There was one very funny one. We were as really lay people. We said, so don't we have a tagline or a slogan or something? And then we were told the Air Force doesn't have those things. So we were like, oh my god, we don't have a how's the Josh? That's really crashing. But
there's no war cry.
The marketing person at you was crushed, right?
No, I'm not a marketing person, but the marketing team did ask that question. So well spotted.
Sorry to cut you, but I have to ask Oni Sen something. Is that war is as much a story of triumph as it is a story of war is as much a story of triumph as it's a story of loss, because it's a story of human loss as well. How do you balance those two that it comes out sensitively without any sort of chest beating?
So, actually, that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the project. Because when Abhijeet had come to me with the project,
And it was
before he told me much about it, right? I knew it was war, it was Kargil War, and one pretty much knows who won the war and what happened based on all our knowledge and the films we have seen and things we have read. So my point was, what is it that we are talking about? What is the story we are telling, and where is the human story in this, and why are we telling this story? That's where he told me about Air Force, and that's when Kushal sir, Mehboob, Abhijeet, we sat and I sort of, about 3 or 4 hours, they spoke to me about the Indian Air Force, and it changed my life in that moment. I didn't even know whether I'm going to do the project, not do the project, but it changed my life because there are many things to this. One is, of course, like I think all of us are talking about how beautifully different Indian Air Force is. And the other thing is about, while we're talking about war, we're talking about victory. Any match, game, war, it's all about, there's a notional victory. But the fact that, yes, nobody actually wins, right? And it is not about who is winning. Of course, that's a takeaway from the story, but not about who is winning. It's about the brotherhood. It's about human soul. It's about refinding what you've lost. It's about human beings or souls rising from the ashes, right? It is
it's about love. It's about falling in love. At the same time, it's also about betrayal. So I think it's this entire thing. I would say it's not about war of guns and battles and stuff. It's war of emotions, and I think that is what I've found most beautiful about it, and that is what I've been trying to keep alive in every scene and every bit that we shoot, and because it's constantly about, for all of us, the job is not to tell people facts.
Right.
The job is, I think we have only one job, is to make people feel.
True.
And that is when I mean, of course, I've been really lucky to have amazing actors who are in this show. And for each one of them, I'm really lucky because when I just, in the most, simplest way, I tell them that this is what I want you to feel in this moment and this is what you should make me feel. And I see that happen, it's magical.
So I got to ask you that I think Operation Safed Sagar was shot at 18,000 feet, and you guys shot at 16,500, if I'm not wrong. Like, who all was there? Like, you guys were there at that altitude?
They were there. My highest was close to 13,000.
13,000.
Yeah.
They were there for 1.5 months.
So they've touched
Close to-
way
close
greater
to-
heights
close
than
to
us.
2
Let's put
months.
it mildly.
I was there for 10 days.
You were there for 10 days.
Yeah.
But newfound respect for people who do that once you went there, right?
I mean, we've done those altitudes
Yeah,
before.
that's yeah.
But the thing is that this time the field was different, the players are different. It was kind of raw.
Yeah.
So I just told them when I went in the middle for 10 days and maybe a little more, 1 or 2 days more than that, because you got to go there. You shoot maybe only for 4-5 days, but you got to acclimatize for the next amount of days, and then you. And I told them, I said, you guys deserve some kind of an award here for being here for 1.5 months. We wrapped up together, I guess.
Yeah.
We all wrapped up together. I was there in the last day. Apparently, so many of them fell sick and everything like that. But that is the kind of passion which drove them to probably go. And they're going to kill a lot of people after this because people are going to say that, अरे ये लोग 1.5 महीना करके आए, हमने तो 20 दिन करना है, चले जाओ. वो 3 दिन नहीं सर्वाइव करेंगे वहाँ पे. मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. आप नहीं करोगे, आप जाके आओ, भाग के आ जाओ. मेरे को अभी कोई भेजे, मैं भाग के आ जाऊँ.
मैं आर्ग्यू भी नहीं कर रहा सर, आप बिल्कुल ठीक बोल रहे हो.
We had no option. It's called Safed Sagar.
Yeah,
We had to go where it is
it has
right.
to be authentic.
We had to go where it is white.
Yeah.
We had snow. We signed it.
I mean, they could have found white places in a lot of other places also. but they chose
Sir,
the real place. The real places.
That part only. I have to ask you something, the two of you. You've been part of films that have spoken about love for the nation, whether it was Agni Punk or whether it was Vande Vasanti. And they spoke it in a very subtle manner.
Ciao.
Cheers to now, Indian storytelling, when it talks about patriotism, started to get very loud over the last few years. What do you think about that change, that anything patriotic needs to be a little loud today? I'm sure this show is not that because we're talking about human emotions here. But why do you think that change has come? If we start with you, Siddharth.
There's no change in me.
Okay. But
20 years ago, I played Bhagat Singh. Now I'm playing Ajay Ahuja. So if I've not made those mistakes, I shouldn't comment on them.
okay.
आज के ज़माने में ना सब कुछ मुझे लग रहा है चिल्ला के बोलना पड़ता है. आप न्यूज़ भी देखोगे तो वो ज़माने में कैसे लोग प्यार से न्यूज़ सुना दिया करते थे कि आज यहाँ से लेके वहाँ तक के पार करनी गई है. बड़े प्यार से वो लोग सुनते थे. आज चिल्ला के बोल रहे हैं तभी भी तो आजकल शायद चिल्ला के लोगों को समझाना पड़ता है. शायद ऐसा है. पर हमारी फिर भी सटल है.
I'll end it with one question, and that's
And also, I want to say that the creators we who
Subtle.
met us, what they told us is what we believe. And what they've told us, they've stuck to for the entire production. Like Oni Sir says, you can tell any story with love or hate. Filmmakers have to choose the language. There's no hate in Safed Sagar.
You don't
There's only
have
love
to.
in Safed Sagar.
yeah.
See, national pride doesn't need to be shouted at. It
No,
needs
then
to
I'm
be
just saying,
felt.
only when you
Yeah.
hate, you have to be aggressive. You can love
Love
gently,
comes from a
right?
gentle place, yeah.
Yeah. So this is it's a gentle tribute to a very, very important time in post-independent debate.
That is Air Force culture also.
Exactly.
No war cries.
No war cries. No slogans.
No slogan.
Tanya, I have to ask you something. Is that now this show is being shot right now? It will finish filming, then it will go to post production. So it takes time, and any good thing takes time, and viewers wait for that. And then when it comes out, we binge watch all the episodes in one night. No, not about Safed Sagar, but when something comes out, we watch it in one night, and then we wait a year and a half for the second season. Why must you do that to us?
Oh, we're trying very hard not to. We actually are deeply committed to bringing back our stories, soonest possible. And I think we're turning the tide on that. Recently we launched Rana Naidu, which was
Right.
within 2 years of its release. We have, Delhi Crime coming this year, Kora within 2 years. We're really working hard to make sure that the repeat seasons of fan favorites, Mismatched, we're hoping to bring back really soon, come back before fans actually lose memory of their favorite, characters, their world. So it's a great question to ask creators as well. How soon can
Also, churn up the,
no,
but it's a creative process,
It's a creative process. I think good things need time. But I think we must be cognizant of audiences and their eagerness to get their favorites back. If television back in the day or American television can actually literally bring out a season a year, I'm sure we can hit there too very soon.
Wonderful. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the show already. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so
much.
much. Thank you so much.